So for today's video, I want to talk about accessing your tools while you're in the middle of a fight. I like to refer to this as earning the draw. Now, the tools that I'm referring to, it could be blades, pepper spray, firearms, essentially anything that you carry on your person for personal protection. Now, I saw a video recently of two individuals that were fighting, and during this fight, one of the individuals begins reaching for a firearm and drawing it out of his waistband. At this point, the other individual either hits him or swats his arm, but regardless, the firearm falls to the ground, the guy can't get to it, and then proceeds to get his butt kicked by the other individual. Point being, just because you have these tools on your waistband does not mean that you can just access them in the middle of a fight whenever you feel like it. It really all boils down to timing. You need to have a window of opportunity to where you can access and draw your tools safely without any interference from the other individual or individuals involved in the fight. Now, I want to show you a quick video from the Combative Summit where I was sitting down with Brian. He's one of the instructors at ShivWorks, and we were talking about how to access your tools within that 0 to 5 foot range. So I want to talk about earning the draw. In my opinion, and I brought Brian here from ShivWorks to help me out. In my opinion, if you want to earn your draw, meaning accessing my firearm, blade, pepper spray, whatever, you need to have time. Now, that time boils down to a few different things. That could be space, that could be control, that could be positioning, that could be damage. I could crack the dude and I have an opportunity where I can draw. It may not be the best draw, could be a dirty draw, which we'll talk about, but in my opinion, time is the missing piece that you need. I think a lot of people who don't train often assume that if I am going to access a tool, Brian is going to be 20, 30, 40, 50 feet back and I have all the space and time in the world, not realizing that most of those altercations and encounters are in that contact range, and this is going to be the type of position that we need to actually earn our draw.
Anytime we're trying to get a gun or a knife out at contact range as a decision based on timing, not position. And we say that because if I happen to get into a really good position that everyone would agree is good for me, like I get onto his back. If I try to go for the gun from here, but I'm not in control of his hands in any way, he's gonna try to foul the draw. I'm not gonna be able to get it out. If instead I fight for more control, I might have a window of opportunity that has some time allowing me to get the gun out and he can't stop it. Another way that could be expressed is I push the guy, he's a half foot or step outside of wingspan, I start going for it, but my clothing, which is normally when I'm on the range tailored perfectly for the best draw, after a 10-second fight, it's down by my knees, he starts closing, I'm trying to get it out, now we're fighting over the draw and I'm definitely not gonna get the gun out. If at least I can get underneath him, get his arm out of the way, I can probably get an unobstructed draw. And we refer to that idea as a dirty draw. I would accept a dirty draw or a draw from a less than ideal position. I'm not on his back. There is no real significance in this position other than his arms are out of the way. Control the arm that's closest to the gun before you get the gun out, and you're gonna have some success.
If we're in that close contact range and we're trying to get to a position where either I can make space, I can get some distance between us, maybe I can apply some damage safely without, because I think the other thing is if I'm trying to apply damage, which does work, right? I can crack you and that buys me that time. But if we're already in this close contact range and I've got control, in order for me to throw those strikes, I have to sacrifice control for damage. It's not always gonna be the best opportunity to do so. So what would be some positions that you would work towards for a clean draw, not even necessarily a dirty draw, but ones where it's like, I have no opportunity to even attempt to get hands on with you?
Well, I think first we have to establish why is it not maybe the best idea to disconnect and start exchanging with strikes. I'm not the best striker in the world. David's certainly a lot better and more skilled at striking, but even though there's a big skill disparity, as soon as we disconnect, I might get lucky and knock him out. There's a reason why we call it a lucky punch or something like that. If instead of choosing to disconnect and then get into an exchange where he might get lucky, I remain connected and I try to fight for the inside, that being the space between his elbows. If I can dominate that space, now I can start looking for positions where both of his hands are under control and allows me to go for the gun. Right now, that hand's not under control. How can I get it there? If I could force his hand to his pocket, maybe reach around his back and get control of the forearm. Now from this position that we refer to as a split seatbelt, I can get to the gun without him stopping me. I could get a knife out. I can hit him and he can't hit me back, which from a person who's not a striker, that's the best time to hit someone when they can't defend themselves. Good time to do it. Another example would be a modified duck under, where I throw his arm underneath, I look up, and now I will have not stabilized the position. He can get out of this, but I might have a moment of time where I can access the gun. A big key in making this work is looking up and driving your ear into the shoulder while driving your hips into him. Constantly applying forward pressure so he feels off balance. That gives you a free hand to get the gun. Another one that we frequently teach is going to be a bundle, where he has an underhook on me, his arm is underneath, he's holding me at the shoulder. I'm going to try to take control of this exchange by wrapping my arm around his arm in an overhook. I'm going to try to force his elbow to his belly button as I cross his arm and then collect both of his with mine. Now ideally, I would be able to break his posture, and from here, we can now get the gun out and start working to diminish him so we can create space and improve the quality of shot. Another expression might be, I get a 2-on-1, I plank, move to the outside, and from here, we arm drag. Now I'm on his back, and I grab hold of a cross-side wrist tie. If we stand up, I have control of his arm, preventing him from rotating, and it gives me decent control. The problem is, I'm right-handed, I'm left-handed, I'm on the right side. I'm not gonna be able to get the gun out. And a big mistake we see people make in ECQC is try and pinky the gun out and then shoot from here. Very low percentage that works, and I would probably never do that with a real gun. The correct answer is, once you do make it to the back, continue to fight. Hopefully you can make it around to the other side, maybe bundle up his arm, and now from here we have a good chance of getting the gun out and he can't stop it.
Now, a few years ago, I took an ECQC course from ShivWorks, and during these courses, they have what are called evolutions. If you're not familiar with the ShivWorks courses, the evolutions are the portion of the class in which you get to put all of the techniques and material that you have learned to the test in a live training scenario. Now, the two scenarios that I was put through, one of them I was on my back on the ground, the other one I was on my feet. The goal of both of these evolutions was to access my firearm in the middle of the fight and use it appropriately. I did not do that. I thought I had a window of opportunity. I did not, and as a result, I had what is called a bad draw. I went from accessing and drawing my firearm to then fighting over my firearm with the other individual involved. And that is not a position you want to be in. If you are in a fight, the last thing you want to do is be fighting over your tool with the other person involved in the fight. So again, to recap, if you want to access your tools in a fight, or earn the draw, I should say, you need to create a window of opportunity to where you can safely do so. This can be done by creating excess amounts of space. This can be done by applying a hefty amount of damage to where the person physically cannot get to you, or I have to control the person, meaning I control their limbs and I can prevent them from getting any sort of access or interference to my draw. Nonetheless, you need to get out there and train, and not only do you need to know how to draw your weapons in the middle of a fight, you also need to make sure that you know how to retain them, because again, the moment you bring those into play, I can guarantee you the bad guy is going to try and get hands-on with them. Stay safe.